The first thing I did when I came here, I asked people at my table, who was the super achiever who submitted PowerPoints and slides, and we discovered there were two. So I think I was trying to affiliate myself or try to find which group I'm going to belong to here at the table. I was the underachiever, but that's okay. As a faculty member, I think we live in a very fascinating world. I bring the experiences I lived through. I live through my students' experiences. I live in my community, and I'm engaged in my community. And I think it's all of these intersections, those multiple hats that I wear, is what really gave voice to the 3 action commitments or commitments that I made during finding the center last year. I couldn't settle on one. I wanted to do something in my globalization class. I wanted to do something with the Human Rights Commission, and I wanted to do something to a very dear and close cause to my heart. Now, the underlying construct in all of these, I felt, was that misunderstanding or lack of understanding, lack of knowledge, and ignorance. And one of them had to do with, it becomes a foundation, why we hate others, why we don't understand certain actions or we label them as hate. Prior to that, I was one of the fortunate 50 people who attended a Stop the Hate Train the Trainer workshop that Carmen Suarez and Mark Edwards have brought to campus, and along with other colleagues from across the community. It was a fascinating workshop. It was really an immersive experience. We trained and then we went and we tried to figure out how to visualize it through what we do. One of the, if I had my act together, I would have had this in a PowerPoint. One of the most important pyramids that now stands on my wall and my door, on my office door, is the Pyramid of Hate. And it shows how things began from acts of bias to prejudice and bigotry, discrimination, violence, and genocide. That, to me, was a very informative kind of tool to have and to adapt. And so both Carmen and I serve, along with a few other members here, can serve on the Human Rights Commission. We are volunteers on that commission. The Human Rights Commission offers social justice workshops or forums. And so we volunteered that we will offer, the last social justice workshop would be about Stop the Hate. Concurrently to that, in my globalization class, we were doing projects on human security. Food security is among those, other types of human security. And so I decided that it would be fascinating to bring together tools that we've learned through Stop the Hate seminars, Stop the Hate workshop, as well as tools from Finding the Center, and try to see how those could work together as we present and bring this topic to both publics. So I made my students, and as a professor you can do that, I made my students attend the social justice workshop, which was really great because we got an audience and attendance. But another partnership was we worked also with the, collaboratively with Carmen. We also worked with the Moscow Police Department and with the city. And we presented this workshop, a 90-minute workshop that we integrated many of the tools from Finding the Center, especially social media tools, especially some of those video clips that actually make somebody stop and say, hey, that video by, that Paul Wasserman showed us about the white team passes, we started with that. And it was really very important because you only see what you're looking for. And that was one of the most important things we wanted to bring forward, which connects with this pyramid of hate, where we can see discrimination. If we are really attuned, if we begin to learn how do we see it. Another thing is that we also try to seize the moment with other tools that were provided by that integration of the two paradigms or the two training, and show the power of media in influencing our perception and our knowledge, and how it's our personal responsibility to seek better information, to seek other experiences. We provided video clips as well as statistics that Stop the Hate seminar provided us. Towards the end, we also we tried to get similar commitments from individuals. And in my case, for example, in the class, it was how the students can integrate that and integrate social change models in offering solutions towards human security. Of course, some solutions were a little bit outlandish, but the students got the tools. Other community members, if we would have had more participation, I'm sure they would have gotten many of those tools. So ignorance is the greatest barrier to understanding and compassion between people. Sometimes we don't know, sometimes we don't want to see. I discovered that holding a mirror is one of the hardest tasks you can ask any people or any group of people. I've discovered that actually even this semester as I tried to model the same training in an upper level course. And I could not go past the spiral of hate, how incidents of bias and hate crimes, they don't affect only the individual or the group where they happen. They affect the whole community. They affect a much larger scope of things and sphere. I couldn't get past the language and the color and how many students refused to acknowledge that, well, certain actions are scapegoatings. So that made me realize that this really needs to happen at a much earlier level. And it needs to be repeated often. The tending of this garden that Tony spoke about is very important. Tending a garden happens repeatedly, happens often. It requires new tools, it requires new knowledge, but it requires persistence. And if I learned one thing from all of these actions and this material is that persistence is important. Giving up is not an option. And I will end with Eid Mubarak. Tomorrow is Eid. Today actually, well, last night, today is the Arafah time where many pilgrims in Mecca will stand, and actually it is a time of where it is a time of interrogating your consciousness. You reveal yourself and you have that question with your consciousness. And I couldn't find a better day to speak about Stop the Hate or Finding the Center kind of actions than today when it is a moment of looking at one's consciousness and saying where we can go from here.